Hi, everyone. This is Mike Leahy. Thanks for joining us today to have a discussion about sales analysis, sales margins, and some of the experiences we've had with some of our customers. This is my picture here. For those of you who are not familiar with our company, we've been in business forever. We have worked with Macola forever. We are manufacturing and distribution ERP specialists. Probably 80% or 90% of our customers are manufacturers. We're based in Cincinnati, Ohio. And what we do for a living is we help extract data out of your Macola database to help you make faster and better decisions. So today we're going to talk about our Pulse dashboard software and just a specific area within that in the sales area. But these are some testimonials that people have said about our software. It's the best analytical tool I've used in my career. I like that one. I'm real excited. I'm beyond excited to have all these reports right at my fingertips. I like that one. I could just see the person keying that in and sending that to us. And but kind of overall is the dashboard puts everything in one place. You don't have to look around for spreadsheets or crystal reports or anything else. It's all in one place. So on sales report, incidentally, this is a picture in our conference room a few years ago. For those of you who may have interactions with Adriano, here he is. He's the one that developed, one of the developers of our software. Here's Ben Kirk in the back with the beard, and he initially developed the version 1. And here's Terry Lanham, who you may have met along the way. Okay, so in our sales report, there's really only 3 reports. Within the inventory module or within the executive, there's a bunch of reports. So in this area, there's really only 3 reports to learn, and we're going to go through this slowly, but I'll explain. There's a customer order summary. There's a customer order dynamics view, orders dynamic view, and then there's one called sales analysis. So the differences between them are customer order summary, that is showing you uninvoiced orders. The next one, customer orders dynamic view, that's designed to show you the details of invoiced orders. And then we have sales analysis. Sales analysis is not designed to show you that you shipped 3 of this product on this date, at this price. It's much more strategic than that. We've added about 300 custom formulas. You have 24 months of visibility, and it's designed to give you more summary information. Dollar sales, quantity sales, margin, and that's margin percent and margin dollars, the prior month, the prior year, the prior quarter, so you could look at this month versus the same month last year. You could look at this month versus the same month or the last month. So there's tremendous amounts of flexibility. And when we developed that, the idea was that you could look at any sales report, anything by anything. It could be by product, by customer, by territory, by salesperson, customer type. And then the second by would be showing any of these fields, the dollars, the quantities, and so on. And as an additional bonus, there may be a need to go back beyond the 24 months of visibility that we have. So you can turn the clock back in dashboard. You can turn the date back and look at prior years. So for example, if you wanted to turn it back to 2020 and date it December 31st, 2020, you could look at all of 20 and all of 19. So we'll take a look more about that in a minute. So let's dash over to the dashboard. And so the idea today is to walk through, give you a little bit of a history of how some of these reports were developed. I mentioned to you earlier that one of our goals was to be able to track anything by anything, and that really was at the encouragement of one of our customers, who came from a Fortune 100 company. He was the CFO, and he wanted to be able to analyze everything. So he, guided us as to what, how we were going to do this and what kind of metrics would be beneficial. And that was the start. That was maybe 10, 15 years ago with a food processing customer here in Ohio. So let's take a look we're going to walk through these tabs. They're designed to kind of build up some information. Okay, so this is our sales analysis reports. And as I mentioned before, this is sort of fitting in with the title. Go back here for a minute. Our sales order summary. These three categories are what we're working on. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show, these are sales analysis reports. And with all dashboard, if you right click on the name of the report, this blue bar up here tells you what the report is, the sales analysis. I've customized it here by product category. So we're just going to look at this just for a minute. This is designed again to be able to show you high level information. So this particular one is by product category. Let me sort this down better. It's by product category. So I'm able to look at month to date and month to date. This is month to date invoice versus budget. Okay, so let's stop for a minute and talk about budget. We have the capability to add pretty much any kind of budget that you might want. So I went up to the top and I brought in the budget. So you can have budget for multiple years. You can have an unlimited number of budgets. You can import your budget from Excel. If you don't have it in Excel, you could create the beginning of your budget from history and then make changes to it. So I could say, bring in my history, bring in my last year actual. Maybe I want to increase sales by 10%, increase margin by 5%, and then it'll handle that for you. If you have seasonality and want to customize the percent each month, you can, or you can just do it proportionally. So this allows you to have a budget by customer, by salesperson, by item, items within customer, shipping locations, as well as item and location and sales. So what we have here is the ability to have the budget be dollars. I'll open this up to show you. These are the customers. By dollars, by units, by average selling price, and by target margin. So you can see it's quite comprehensive. I don't know that we have too many customers with the target margin, but it definitely is there. This entry, item and location entry, this is for your MRP budget. But the rest of these are, then you can, again, I can have an unlimited number of budgets and so on. Okay. So I'm sure everybody knows there's no place in the standard Macola software to put in a sales budget and be able to track actual to that. So this was one of our goals going back to that food processing customer maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and this has worked well. So here we have by product category, monthly invoiced dollars, budget dollars, and here's the prior year month to date. So I could bring this over here and I could see, then compare month to date this year, this month, I'm in the month of June, versus the prior month to date. Now, what some people like to do is to say, okay, it's nice to see where I was, but what did I end up with in the last year? In other words, I'm 915,000 into this month, in the month of June. How did I do at the end of June last year? So it's basically just adding another field, and I'll show you. So these are these custom formulas that I discussed here: month to date, invoice dollars versus month. So ME is month end, MTD is month to date, and these are all of the. You can see here, this is our 24 months. So we track. What we have is a report, a back processing. It's not a report that runs every day about midnight, and it calculates huge amounts of activity that all of these reports use. So this example then that I wanted to touch on was month to date invoiced prior year month-to-date invoice versus budget year-to-date, prior year year-to-date, and then here's my year-to-date margin, and then my year-to-date budget. So these are just, and as everybody knows, you can move these fields around as you want to just by dragging them. And if you don't want it, you just drag it off of here until it turns into an X. So what I did here, this one is by product category. The only difference between these two reports is I just changed product category and I added customer and customer name. So we'll go into that a little bit more detail. So again, what we're looking at here are higher level information by anything, and this can be any field that's in Macola, including all of the user-defined fields. So, for example, by item, by customer, by product category, by customer type, by salesperson, by territory, by state. I'll show you how easy that is in a moment. Okay, so this is sales analysis. So now what I'm looking at customer orders dynamic view. Now what that is I now can see the detail. I'll right click here, customer orders dynamic view. And I now can see the detail of orders that have been invoiced. And this is, I'm just bringing up this flexibility to allow you to see this. So maybe what I could have done here in the spirit of margins, I maybe should have added the margin dollars and margin percent. So for those of you who are new to this, let me go over this a little bit more slowly. This is what we call the column chooser. It's the grid. So you click on here and you're able to see all the information that's in Macola that has anything to do with selling that to and invoicing that customer. And we've converted all of the fields to business English. So if you're a technical person and you hover over here, you can see what the technical field is, but we've changed it to just the word total cost. And like all of our other reports, you don't need to know what file it's coming from or any of that kind of technical stuff. So we've eliminated all that. So you can see how easily I added margin dollars. I don't know what happened. I think I didn't click on it right. So it's very, very easy to go into the column chooser. I don't know what happened to margin. I brought in margin dollars, but I didn't bring in margin percent. Okay. And I can just drag this field over here. Okay. So this report, again, our purpose here is to look at customer order dynamics view. These are orders that have been already invoiced. And again, I can add margins, so I can see margins. Now, let me tell you a story about how some people use this. I have a customer where they have a morning meeting, and all the key managers come to the morning meeting, and they look at orders that were entered yesterday. They drill down, and they look at it one by one. They say, here's an order from Akron Distributors. It has certain kind of margin, and then they start critiquing this. Well, why in the world are we getting a high margin for one customer and another similar customer? The margin's no good. Or do we have bad pricing? Is the salesperson giving the order, giving the sale away? So the idea being that we have margins. It's not just on historical information, but it's also on orders that are pending. These are orders that came in yesterday. And what I can do on these, I can just drill down. I'll click on the name or the customer number, and I can see the details below, which also have the margin. So I just wanted to divert that for a minute to show you that this concept of margins is available all over the software. So again, this one is customer orders dynamic view. These are historical orders. The next one, these are orders that are pending. They have not been invoiced yet. And again, I have margin availability. And I think you're seeing on some of these reports that it's not just what the customer ordered, but how much do we have on hand? So this customer wants 2, and we have none on hand. This customer wants 672. We have 1384 on hand. So that's part of the picture also of how you might be able to track historical orders as well as track orders that are coming in the door. Okay. So what we've talked about now, we'll go back here. We've talked about order summary. These are uninvoiced orders. That's the ones we just looked at. The details of invoiced orders. And then we've talked about sales analysis. And so now let's dig into this a little bit more. And let me bring up a concept here as we talk about reports. Let's say that you ask for a new report, or you see a report we have today and you say, this is great, send me a copy of it. You're the recipient of 15 years worth of report development. And you may say, well, I'd like a new report. I mean, we'll kind of change it all around. But that report then is available to everybody. So the idea is that you've been the beneficiary of everybody before you, and then people into the future will be beneficiary of what we've all done together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at this. We're going to look at, these are margin analysis reports. So we're now into our subject of margin analysis. So before, you could see that we had the margin available on the orders coming in the door. But let's look at it now a little bit differently. This is by product category, and this one is by item. And I have my usual month-to-date, year-to-date, all that kind of stuff in here. Year-to-date margin, prior year, year-to-date margin. But now, what I'm introducing right now is the concept of I can look at my margin analysis by month. And the same food processing company that I referenced before, they had this kind of report, and they had about 10 different product categories. And they would have meetings and just critique the heck out of this. It's like, well, we had a 61%, what happened? Why was it 42 in one month when it was 61 in the other month? And the idea being that maybe you want to analyze this from the standpoint that there are product categories that consistently don't perform right, and maybe be better to let somebody else sell those and you go on and focus on ones that have a higher margin. So again, we now are introducing the concept of month by month, and we have, if we look in here in the column chooser, and I'll show you, we have this is the kind of stuff we have. I should have put the word year in there. Put in the word month. Yeah, so here we have our margin comparisons, and here's what I was talking about before. This is our margin for the current year, 13 periods, and then the prior year, 13 periods. Here's margin percent, same kind of stuff. Okay, so let's look at the next report. And the next report is a little bit different. We took our same margin, our same product category, and this time, instead of looking at margins, we're looking at quantity sold, invoiced quantity in January, invoiced quantity in February, and so on and so on. And what you could do if you wanted to get fancy, you could bring in the margin. I'll do that for January and February. Okay. Here is margin percent this year, January, this year, February. And I'm going to move that here. And I'm going to move that here. So the idea being, you saw this report that I had previously developed. This actually goes here. These backwards. And you're saying to yourself, well, this report's pretty cool, but I really want to see margin percent in addition to this invoice quantity. So I think we're now seeing that we have margins, but we also have invoice quantity. We have invoice dollars by month, and so on. So let's take a look at this next report. This is sales by month by item. You know, same kind of stuff, January, February, March. I think you're starting to see the routine here. This is a situation margin by month. So we did a little different, made this a little different. It's by customer, but I want to look at by customer, January, February, March, April, May margin. And if you want the margin to be dollars, you know that you could bring in, instead of margin percent, you could bring in margin dollars. Okay, so let's take a break for a second. And Bart, are there any questions coming in, or are there items that I've overlooked to talk about? Maybe you're thinking about.
Well, one person asked, whether the color coding of the tabs, is that a new feature?
Oh yes, I'm glad somebody's noticing that. Yes, this is a brand new feature. This is a little embarrassing. This has been in the hopper for like a year, and we did a prototype and we got it to work, and then there was some technical difficulty. It wasn't compatible with something. So if you're using the latest version, you just right click on the tab. I'm going to right click on the tab name, and I go down to tab color. And at this point, you know, I can make this anything that I want to. You just need to be a little careful in using red. Even this orange does. You see how it doesn't show very well. Let's look at red. Yeah, very good question. Yeah, this actually is a little bit more readable. Yep. Okay.
That's it for now. If anybody else does have a question, feel free to just type it in the question area, and either I'll answer it via chat or we'll bring it up in the next break.
Okay. So again, I'll just practice this again. I'm right clicking, not on the blue bar, but on the tab name itself. I right click, and I can change the color. You can get real fancy. You can make this your corporate colors. You can go down to more colors, and you can get all kinds of things going here. Okay, I'm accidentally drilling. Some of these reports have drill down, so we're gonna get to that in a minute. One thing I should mention is that this is a common comment that comes up, and it's like, wow, he's got a bunch of tabs up. I don't have any of these tabs on my system. You know, how can I get these? So for those of you who might be interested in some of these, I can email you the report. I right click and I say save and share, and I save that to a file. You can't open it, so don't double click on it. It doesn't do anything. And I'll show you how to import that, or I give you instructions. So if some of these reports are whetting your appetite and you'd like to work with them, or you do have unlimited phone support. So if you go to help and about, here's our support desk phone number and our support desk email. And excuse me, you have unlimited phone support, you know, with all of our products. Okay, so we're going to look at a fancy report here. It wasn't this one. This one is, well, I think this is becoming a little bit, yeah, we're becoming a little bit repetitive here. I think you know by now we can do month by month. This is just an example of margin analysis by month, and then the same thing down here. So do experiment, click on here. You can't hurt anything by doing this. Click on that column chooser and then just start getting familiar with what is available. I would say before you embark on this, click right here, this column caption, and it will alphabetize everything there for you. And again, if you don't like it, you can just delete it when you get over here. Okay. I'm sorry, my voice is getting a little bit hoarse. Okay, so now we're going to look at another report that I developed here, which is sales by month. So again, I've taken sales by item, pretty much repetitive of what we've looked at. Okay, here's a report that might be of interest. There's one person in the audience here who has seen this report already. And what we're doing here is, let's just focus on this top part here. We are looking at, this is a sales, I think this is a sales analysis report. And I'm showing the invoice period over here. So this is 2021-06. It'll show me that my past 2 years. So in this case, I want to just bring in June of 21. These are all the customers. So I can look here, I can rank this, I can sort this down. For those of you who may be not familiar, when I click on a column heading, it sorts it down either descending or ascending. So here we are. And we have good margins in some cases. So this is the example I would give as a case study. We're looking at this report. I'm showing you this, and you're saying, well, this looks great, but woo, what's the deal here? 32%? We have to investigate that. So you just simply click on here, and down below will be all the details of what was sold in the month of June of 2021. I'll do that again. I'll look at Florida. I'll look at Asia. I'll look at New York. Okay. So from here, this is showing you all the gory details, the price, the quantity, the margin, so on and so on. So what I want to show you is we're taking this now to the next step. There's more to this. In other words, you're looking up here, you're drilling down, but if you see a story you don't like, in this case, these are historical orders at 32%. So I'm saying to myself, wow, are we selling, do we have pending unshipped orders from these guys, from this New York distributor? Do we have pending orders where we're giving away our margin? So we have a feature within the software where you can right click on a field and you can say down here, apply to report and monthly margin or open customer orders. I guess I'll go to open customer orders first. So this report over here on the side is showing open customer orders for New York distributors. So I'll do that again. I'm just right clicking. I'm going to apply to report. And I'm going to say open customer orders. And this list here can be as long as you want it to be. So I'm showing open customer orders. And again, the story here, the case study here is I'm looking at my historical margins. I pinpoint somebody who I don't like the margin, and I want to see the details of what we sold them, including the margin. And then I'm saying to myself, is this a trend here? So I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to Macola process, apply to, and I'm going to say open customer orders. And I can look now, let's play this out. I can look to see what's happening there. Okay, the next thing that I can do while we're talking about this, not everybody can relate to numbers like this. Maybe some people are, I know some people are more visual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and instead of choosing open customer orders, I'm going to choose monthly margin. So you can see this graph over here is now changing. I'll just do that for some of these others. Monthly margin. Monthly margin. So what I've done technically within Dashboard is these two reports are what we call our advanced screen designer. I'm able to link two reports together. Here is the customer summary information. Here is the detail information that supports that summary. And I link those two reports together. And then a further linking or pseudo linking would be I'm going to this apply to. So, and this can go on forever. I mean, what I could do is I could whittle this down a little bit. I'm trying to get more room for some other report over here, or I could squeeze these down. So just for those of you who may be new, all these reports, you can move them all around. You can resize them. You just grab the upper, you can grab those and resize them and so on. Okay. So now that we have all this knowledge about our analysis reports, our dynamic orders, our order summary, then you may say, well, I want to use this a little bit in some other areas. So these two reports are standard dashboard reports that I took off of the executive summary. And I'll show you what they do. Okay, these reports allow you to select a customer, as in this case, and the idea being this can be anything: product category, territory, salesperson, state, anything. So I'm going to choose my Cincinnati distributors, lots of activity for them. And I can see their sales, I can see their open customer orders, I can see their aging, I can see their monthly margin, month by month by month. I can see the graph. So the idea being that I want to create a dashboard. I don't want to just know about all customers. I want to be able to select the list here and select individual customers, or maybe just my top customers. So you can see then how I'm incorporating sales reports within. So let's look at this next one here, which is territory analysis. And the only difference between customer analysis and territory analysis, the only difference, there's only one data field that's different, and that is this field right here. What is it that we are triggering on? That's the only difference. So you can copy this report, and you can clone this report and change it around as you want to. But let's look at this territory, and we're going to take a look at our California territory. You can see here I have different reports that I've included in here. And for those of you who may be wondering, well, the refresh time, the response time is really good on his system. Is it going to be the same on mine? Well, I have a copy, a kind of an altered copy of one of our customers' database. So I basically have a full database here running on my local workstation, and it runs very, very fast. Okay, so let's look at the next tab, and that is I'm wanting to show you, I call this magic, but I'm wanting to show you or emphasize to you how easy it is to take an existing report and repurpose it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. The scenario here, the exercise is that I have this report that I like. We've worked out all these columns. Everybody in the company likes these columns. And then the boss comes and says, okay, well, this sounds really nice, but I want to take the same report and have it work by item or by customer or by item. So I'm going to make a copy of this report. I right-clicked, went to copy. Down here, I'm doing a right-click and paste. And Control-C and Control-V does work here. Okay, so if I made a copy of this report, it's the same one as above, but I'm going to change this. I want this to be by item. So what I'm emphasizing here, I'm going to go into the column chooser. I'm going to get rid of customer. I highlight the field. I hit the X. And now I'm going to just make the simplest of changes. I'm typing in the word item, and I'm clicking to alphabetize it. I'm going down here and bringing in item number. Where did item number go? Well, I'll cheat a little bit and I'll put in the pound sign. And then I want description 1. And I'm going to move this up, move this up. So what I've done in less than a minute, I've taken an existing report by customer and I changed it to be by item. And I'm going to right click and change this title here. If I could spell right. So the point to be made here is that the way our software works is that the sequence of the columns determines how it sorts and filters and grabs data. Up above here, we had customer number, so it was triggering off of customer number. Down here, we have item number, it's triggering off of item number. If I wanted to have this be territory or salesperson, it would be the same thing. And it works for all of the user-defined fields. A lot of people have user-defined fields that are for special purposes, maybe a brand or a sub-brand, some way of categorizing what you're selling.
Mike, while you're still on there, there's a question that came in asking where in the customer master do you specify the customer territory?
Oh, it's just called territory. Now this happens to be a progression database. Here, let's do this. But it should be the same in both of them. In Macola ES and 10.
Okay.
Yep. So what we've done here is now this is another little fanciness here. This, rather than repeat the CA all the way down, it just shows it on the first one. And if you don't like that, you just go in here, customer territory. No, it's the way it's supposed to be. There's no territory assigned to some of these. Okay. So the reason I call this magic is the point being is that I can take any report, any sales report, make a copy of it, go into the column chooser, and then delete the fields I don't want. In this case, I replace the customer number with the item number. And now you know everything that I know about these reports. And with a little practice, you can do the same kind of stuff that I'm doing, and you cannot hurt the system. You cannot, this is not writing back any data. You can't hurt it. If you're not sure what you're doing, you know, stay late in the afternoon when nobody's looking over your shoulder. You can't hurt the system at all. If you have something you don't like, you can just delete it. We emphasize maybe some teamwork, maybe 1 or 2 people who enjoy doing this kind of developing these kind, that they do it for your department or your company. But when all else fails, you can give us a call up here at help about, and we'll make it happen for you.
Mike, we had a follow-up question. The customer territory, the question is, does it default to a state?
No, it's a free-form field. At least in progression, it's a free-form field. This database happens to use state as the territory, but they could have a territory that would say Mike, or Midwest, or Far West, or something like that. Southeastern territory.
Okay.
So let's go back to, we're right at the end here. And this is being recorded, so I'll send everybody the link if you want to go back and recap what I said, or you can call our support desk. But the idea being, these are the 3 reports that we talked about, and experiment with these custom formulas that are in there. And if your company is not using this sales and marketing budget capability, that's something to consider. Almost everybody has a budget of some sort. So you could experiment with just bringing that in from Excel. You don't have to include it on all reports. In other words, you may not like the budget, but the idea is you could get some experience, get some seat time. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with what I want to show you now. Bart, is there anything that I've forgotten or?
No, I think that's it. I don't know if you've gone over how installation or training works.
Oh yeah, if you're brand new to the software, yeah, this is the amazing thing that people like about our software. You can buy the software in the morning, and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, be running all these reports. There's no arduous setup. There's a little bit of setup in the supply chain area that you're not involved with here. You can. There's no setup. These reports, there's a red settings icon on each of these reports that do certain things. Like for customer orders that have not been invoiced, what is the field you're using? What's your drop dead date field? Is it the request date? Is it the required ship date? Those are some things that are, it's a one-time setup. But otherwise, you can start in the morning and literally have it running in the afternoon. Now, it does require training. So for people who are brand new, we provide a certain amount of training. Well, we provide unlimited training, but the training can be by team. It can be one-on-one. It can be train the trainer, however you choose to do it. Yeah, good question, Bart. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who are using our software now and are saying, how can I get these reports? Please send me a note and we'll make that happen. And I will send you a little screenshot of how to import the reports into your system. Okay. Well, if you're new to us, we look forward to working with you. If you're an existing customer, we sure appreciate very much, the opportunity to have worked with you so far. And this is an exciting journey. Lots of things are exciting happening in business, and there's a lot more in the future. So hopefully our reports can help you. Again, this back to what we had here, making faster and better decisions with better and better information. So thank you very much and have a great week. Thanks. Bye-bye.